Hello everyone, welcome to my PowerPoint presentation. I know the frame rate is really bad. I'm admin 1 of NEFX. Today is January 19th, 2023, and we're going to do a little invent-through, total Carnage Inventthrough tonight. Keep in mind that because of ongoing issues with this still yet to be replaced computer, I won't be doing music or mapping on screen because that delays it too much, for whatever reasons. But I'm going to be doing a fair amount of writing, so stay tuned for that. And for that matter, things are going to be a bit different in that I think I'll experiment a bit more with brevity, sentence-wise. We'll just see where that goes. If nothing else, it can be a nice brief foray, like I like to do sometimes. Alright, so I'm going to pick up where we left off with a text piece, which you haven't seen before, but maybe with how long it might well take me to, excuse me, make sentences, even brief ones, you'll have enough time to catch up and make whatever sense of it you will. So then, we're kind of dealing with the logic of causes here, not necessarily in terms of cause and effect, but causes as a fought for sort of thing, you know. And I was thinking about it in part, I guess, because of like the passage of the Empowering Communities for Public Safety, you know, in Chicago. Just thinking a bit on not just that event, just others in recent memory, keeping up with events, and excuse me, hope that wasn't too loud. Trying to, sorry, my nose is stuffy. Okay. First matters, and especially official session 1. Meantime, users and modular concessions of the elaborate at star. Strategically and critically is that. Okay, so that is still a little long, but I'm going to try and tighten it up going forward. I wonder how much, if this fills at least a page or not. I'm going to see how much it covers a page if I were to print it. That's usually the test for whether it's done or not, because otherwise I could just go on. And sometimes I end up going well beyond anyway, because that just seems to be what the piece calls for, whether it's text or otherwise, but here it's a bit different. So, hell, damn shift key. I guess they must increment its own change in the meantime. Oops, that's a weird key flub. Sorry, I hiccup a lot. Ah, damn it. I'm saving and it's stalling again. But I suppose while I wait for that to finish, just thinking a bit about this. Oh, here we go. I can save it. Very riveting material, as you can see. Riveting video material. So let me just save this. I'll just tentatively timestamp it for the title. At least piece 1 for that. What the hell? Couldn't communicate with the helper application. That's really weird and dumb. Ow. That hurt my ears. I don't know if you could hear that. There was like an alert noise that was delayed. It's weird that it only seems to do this when I'm streaming. It doesn't really do that otherwise. See what happens if I close out some windows. I do have a bunch of windows open. And it's only in this program. I did this preparation, close out some other programs. It's funny, one of the text documents I had open was some notes from stuff that Douche Towers said. Not like a creepy stalking way, believe it or not, but just like informational stuff, just stuff he said about programming, Lua, etc. I'm sure Irons would have some insight about that and everything. Let's see if I can save it now. I guess if I can't, then I'll just have to roll with it for the stream and hope it isn't lost. Probably won't be, but okay, that's weird. So it's saved, but it wouldn't save as the title that I requested, so I'll just move on then. So, go. So it's at least allowing me to save. Actually, maybe it's not. It seemed like the last attempt at a save, the input got dropped or something. This is kind of strange and annoying. I might have to move to, until I get a new computer anyway, live streaming from my phone pointed at the computer screen. Irons has some theories about the streaming issues. Yeah, that'd be good to discuss. But regardless of the nature of them and whether they can be fixed, I do need to get a new computer. I've been using this one for 6.5 years. Yeah, this is really bad. Oh well, I just want to watch paint dry. You've come to the right place. Now it just won't even work. I should just not even save it until after the stream is done. Just really annoying when you like try to cut corners to accommodate tech issues, and then it still finds new ways to fuck up. Wait a minute. I don't know if you can see that right now. It's weird. I opened it, I forced quit, and then I opened it up again, and now the text file shows up with the title that I tried to give it before. Okay, so here's the real thing. So maybe we can continue. Let's just see what happens if I... Okay, yeah, now it's saved quickly. All right. So what I was trying to write here was there we go. So, thinking what's right next. Necessary retry. Some margins. Excuse me. And so, an example of that would be something like, like a community commission. Like if there's one, I think, for public safety and accountability. And this is just like one example, but ground to seep into officiality, for stuff just like helping set policy or budget and stuff like that. Hiring and firing leadership, things of that nature. It's just a real dilemma trying to balance it all out. But in some ways, the surest test of its validity isn't that it, in the moment serving absolute necessity, the sort of provisional necessity spares lives. Actually, I'll be right back. I'm going to mute myself, don't worry. Alright, I'm back for now. And I do love Irons' comment saying that seeing this document open with your face in the corner sort of turns you into MS Office Clippy or Duke. That'd be great. There's probably some way to make your own custom plugins for word processing documents and stuff like that. Or yeah, word processing programs, whatever. Things like Word. If not Word, then something else like that. You could make your own Clippy. I'm sure with AI and everything, it'd be easier to do so. Maybe someone can make like a parody. But, so where were we? The idea is the ground seat in the halls of officiality. Okay. Maybe stopgap. So interim measure. So so being beholden to the schedule of that which it's seeking to negotiate with, and at the same time sort of dethrone. Watchful for signs of creeping condition is an important condition. Conditions, positions, yeah. Here we go. See, things are kind of going smoother in a way now that I'm getting better at concision like that. So, concessive to cause. W. The base can find reflection. Just kind of reading back over what I've written, thinking on it. Moreover, excuse me, I've been drinking a lot of water and sparkled water. Interaction. Presence and pressure. So a matter of not only finding those within the bounds of the black guys to be technically most favorable, but for that matter, in the pressure not only to find and select them, but also just kind of agitate and ask the other agents that the black guys are more likely to concede in a way. This is important there. Shoot more. To find the right expression for this. Ground. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sure that the nature of where did it fall? Of course, the sort of paradox of that is that, you know, in a way, the valorization of like material possession as such is sort of like part of the anime, but that can be forgotten in the spirit of the chase, maybe willfully forgotten. Should be sprung. Alright, yes, I think that's about where this is enough for a piece. Yep. So now it's just a matter of reading back over it and splitting it up into paragraphs. Okay, so reading it back, everything. Alright, so that's one for today at least. Dingle's domain / admin's annex. I wonder what admin's annex would look like. Especially given what we heard on the last podcast Event Core episode about what Dingle's domain is. Because I'd imagine it'd be something along those lines. If we look at Dingle's domain, it's like this elusive concept or idea. So I might start at least the basis for text piece that follows from that last one, but at the very least we have one finished tonight. So I'm going to write something that I kind of verbally commented on earlier, but didn't necessarily incorporate into that last piece, and that is for the mass, those margins. Thanks very much for coming by, Irons. You're awesome. See you next time, and there'll definitely be more, say, Irons core pieces to come for both of the devices, even just separately, let alone together. But yeah, have a good night. So I'm thinking about this in part because of, again, something happening in Chicago with a rise in, shall we say, pro-accountability candidates and such, with respect to policing and everything. Civil options. You can even connect one. The primordial. Missions are watched. nothing more to lose. The atrocities. Code measures. Recur regular. Thinking about this, really with a lot of police brutality related issues. I mean, certainly around the world, particularly the U.S., but not just Chicago, also L.A. Again, right? Like the issue with like Martin Ron Cesar Rodriguez, right? Because it's Cesar. But anyway, that's just the starting point. So I'm going to leave that for later, but I'm going to actually go to something else for now. First, though, I'm going to use the bathroom once again. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm back now. It's weird, while I was in there, and this has happened occasionally anyway, lately, I thought I heard my work phone ring, because I do work at this same desk that I'm using my personal computer on right now. I have my work computer right next to it, and I have to often answer calls during the day on the work phone. And I haven't had dreams or anything, or nightmares about it, but I'll occasionally think that I'm hearing it, even like in the wee hours of the night when I'm not. I mean, it's not like an absolute like, well, I totally hear it, but I'll just think that I might be hearing it, that like somehow the phone is connected again and someone's calling. It's pretty weird and goofy, but anyway. So, I'm thinking a bit on the historical role, if not potentially universal role, of brutality and the securement of life form, of right conditions for people, masses, being as such, whatever, things at large. And in particular, I've thought about the Mexican Revolution as it pertains to that, especially because I've talked with it a bit talked with some friends a bit about it, and my girlfriend as well. She kind of wants me to write something about it, and I kind of do too. Not specifically in a topical way per se, but just in a broad, more universal sense that involves reflecting on things like that. That could apply to something like Mexican Revolution or other such revolutions, events, tide changes, etc. But not universal brutality and that's life form. The alliance shifting steps towards that. Overlookedly. No, that's not really a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. I mean, people get it, probably. And order favoring. Just think about, like in the case of Mexican Revolution, it was, Porfirio Diaz's kind of favoring of the wealthy landowners, increasing oligarchy. And it's interesting, like in this particular case, this whole story, it was kind of a succession of events, nearly current power systems where figureheads who, at least initially and or compared to what came before, were more progressive and favorable towards the people, but over time seemed to curl into their own kind of hoarding positions and adopting positions that favored other hoarders. By which I don't mean in the modern sense that we would think of, such as someone who hoards in their house who has like a hoarding problem, but just more that kind of mercenary mentality. Maybe mercenary favoring is a more apt word. If not, it's still a big deal. But often covert action contradicting it. So like in this case, it was, when Diaz in about 1908 gave lip service to being favorable to democracy and fair elections, but behind the scenes, basically doing a lot of underhanded things to rig it in his own favor against Francisco Madero. Supposed ideal. For the question is raised. True rulership. emphasis on its own power. Think about it like when Diaz had Madero arrested him and declared himself the winner. Mass sentiment. Waiting for a new like a light to an explosive. Yeah. Lifting pedals for cause of light. Form fail, they set precedent. I'll be more concise about it. Ensuing battles and set your precedent, even when failing. Just like in this case, even though what Madero attempted had sort of failed in that moment, or was to say more, his initial revolt and the ensuing revolt of the mass in response to the revolt against his revolt, it erupted into what we now know with the likes of not just Pancho Villa in this, I think it was the north, but also Pascual, Orozco, or Emiliano Zapata in the south. Brings the mass frequently dormant. Including itself. And set off the toppling entire institutions. Just thinking about, again, it's not just like the government garrisons, but like the, in this case, was it called caciques? I think those were the political bosses in rural areas. Of them. Sure. Channels fail if they can prove to be initiating and inspiring. First moves that set off a more effective long form or carried out by the mass. after their executive failure. Paradoxically, concessions for more demands of them. So like, where the masses might demand more reforms now that they are granted, say, more constitutional means of government where they wouldn't have had it before. When, it's often a common trick, shall we say, a psychological trick to make it out as though because concessions are granted, then that means that you would be wrong, whether from a moral or technical perspective, to demand more, as though that concession wasn't merely a retraction of the knife from the backs of the mass, so to speak. Diligence towards the marginalized. Even initial faith in the official measures can help one learn more of the actual model form. Just reject them. It's like when the reform, like some sort of systemic reform, is occurring too slowly. You might initially support the reform and then find out that in practice, if not in its very fundamental structure, it's insufficient. But you've already given yourself to the cause that is supposed to be in the name of, and you can't just go back. So it's weird. It's like, it's sort of a Hegelian idea that I'm driving at here, but it's sort of the idea that these, at least initial tentative half measures, whatever, or forms of revisionism or kind of weak reformism, and sometimes those two dovetail, they can actually serve as platforms for the actual right measures and ideas. And where that's Hegelian is in the idea that, let's say, the wrong or invalid ideas are not merely like detritus to be discarded upon being totally contradicted, but as being involved in like an entire dialogic structure, so that in a way you could say that they are sort of meta good, even if they aren't good. And that has, its own limitations and problems and questionable aspects to it, that whole idea. But I'm thinking about that, just in the idea that people might, let's say, people wouldn't initially believe in the actual ideas or actions necessary to attain life form or, as an example, general social revolutions. But they might agree with them more official reformist ideas or actions or means or figureheads through which to accomplish that. And then so they are galvanized to act. But then as they engage with that official means, shall we say broadly, they become disillusioned. And so they then take on the long form because they understand what it means, but they didn't beforehand. So in a way that weak reformism could potentially, at least if we go by historical record, be sort of a necessity. But ideally something to be transcended, obviously. We don't want to just let it happen. That's one of the paradoxes of the world, isn't it? Well, anyway, So such as outside the domain of concern for mercenary interest. Tactical alliances with otherwise UACs. Must not be long form principled alliances. Just thinking about, like, say, the Feliz Diaz faction of rebels in the Mexican Revolution. Feliz Diaz being, of course, the nephew of the Porfirio Diaz, the dictatorial president, basically. Spirit of the chase and the provisional necessity in the meantime of maintaining survival and thrive. This faction. Thinking about the 10 tragic days is what it was called. Like February 18th, 1913, I think. Yeah. During the conflict between Feliz Diaz's forces and Victoriano Huerta's federal troops in Mexico City. And they signed a pact at the embassy. Let's see. I don't think there's anyone else here right now. Yep, no one else currently. That's all right. I can just do this by myself. usurper. Mess. Kindled. I shed resistance to the ensuing reckless power tripping. Not necessarily the personess of like Geistian outposts. I should say the momentum of the mass, not the moment of the mass, per se. Yeah, I think I'm slowly inching towards something here. And at a better, more satisfactory rate than I had before, I think. More severe response. Six. Yep, just thinking about tactical alliances, basically. Thinking in this case about, obviously, Mexican Revolution, but in particular, an increasing support from the Wilson administration, you know, Woodrow Wilson, like circa 1914. And the support may not have even been out of principle per se, but just out of, like, strategy, like a global strategy. And so, you know, Huerta faced multiple enemies at that point. It was like a meanwhile tactical alliance, even though ultimately U.S. interests weren't so allied with Mexican interests in general, let alone that of a revolutionary sort. Becomes ensuing musical shares of power. Competently, is that the right word? I'm actually not sure. Yeah, okay, that's, excuse me, that's the right word. I had a sense, but it had been a while since I'd read or used the word. It just seemed like that was appropriate, and it was. But it doesn't matter, because time's up for that particular topic for now. probably revisit it soon enough. I'm going to use the bathroom again, but I'll be right back. Actually, I think I should be done for tonight, but I would like to return soon, maybe sometime over the weekend. I'd like there to be at least a smaller gap between such streams than there have been before. Normally I would consider showing you